16th of July 2023. This one is just one of those let's talk Skidmarks, and this one is going to be about mealtime. I am working on one that will be in line of the hobby one that I did, but meals in a home is an important glue for family. And you must understand, I've got a great passion for food, and I think I'm a better than normal home cook. But the fact of the matter is that the onslaught on families and family bonds is tremendous. And I'm not going to expand on that, you're all aware of it. The basic thing that you have to accept is that the XXX, one of their missions is the destruction of families. And you can think about it, how it's being done, and what the onslaught is on our children and so forth. And a big problem is that time together between the father, the mother and the children, that time is being sabotaged from all directions, and it's being done with Xboxes and cell phones and internet and pads and you name it. Everything is designed with the specific aim of destroying family time. And that is something that we have to be aware of, and that's only if you are interested in surviving the onslaught from XXX, you need to take every piece of advice and every opportunity you can get to fight them. If you don't do that, you will perish with them. They've got no mercy, and they have published it. 85% of us must go. But they want to first destroy us as families, and then destroy your personality and get you isolated so that you only live in a world where that screen in front of you, whether it's a phone or a PC or a laptop or what, where that is your life and your world. And we need to fight that. In my home, I have never compromised on it. I had those little TV tables, trays for eating in front of the television for about 6 months in my house, and I threw them out. Family time, meal time is family time, and we all sit at the table and eat. At the table. That is important. Now, whether working mothers and fathers, both parents working and so forth, time is very tight and precious. And that is something that we have to take consideration of. So once they all arrive back at home, everyone dash in its own direction to do their own private things, and the kids eat in their rooms or and bulk of the time it's takeaways or quick food, and those things are poison to start off with, but they're damn expensive, and we have a problem. My generation's mothers did not train the mothers in my generation. In other words, my wife and her peers. They did not train their daughters to cook and look after a home as our grandmothers did. So it's part and parcel of this modernization. Now I'm going to show you a few dishes, and you must understand that you must just take a look at the detail of the dishes and then notice the simplicity. But to do that, one of the things that I have in all my cooking that is basically a non-negotiable is a good sauce. And you've got to have a good sauce. And I'm going to put a link to my Mankos blog in the description of this video, so you can go and visit that blog. The link that I will drop in there will take you to how to make a sauce. And you must understand, I'm not a recipe guy, I'm a story guy. Read through the story properly, that you get the drift of it. And all my stories is written specifically for men, so that they can manage to do these things, so the women will breeze through it. But a good sauce makes out of any meal a 5-star meal, basically. And you must practice that sauce until you get it right and understand it. And you can make the base sauce, and you can do it like the recipe, the link that I will put in here. Get a base, and you can make it in more in volume or what. And then you can decide whether you want to go chili with it, whether you're going to go creamy with it, whether you want to go spicy with it, all of that. But the basis, you must understand the basics of a sauce, and it is actually so simple. But let's look at the first meal. And if you look at this, I'm going to show it to you in short slides. But this specific meal, the basis was a good sauce and some leftover meat from the previous day that was sliced and diced into small squares and then put into the sauce. And then I prepared eggplant. Now the eggplant is also a simple thing to do if you understand the mechanics around it. And it's not complicated. And then you'll see the final dish, and part of that final dish was a raw salad. Now all the components in that dish can be handled individually, and children from about, I would say from about 5, can assist in doing that. Enjoy this one, eggplant and this leftover stew sauce thing. That is a very tasty meal, hearty, but most important, all of the meals I'm going to show you in this show was what I did during the lockdown period, where the focus was on getting vitamins and nutrients into our bodies. The next slide show is about steak. Now, I have in Nelspruit in the Spar, you can buy what they call a rump tails. And they started marketing it about 3 years ago. And that is all that I buy. I buy that rump tails and then prepare it on the braaier. And usually it's various sizes. And I slice it and that. And I am a guy that was extremely full of shit when it comes to leftovers. If you treat those leftovers correctly, you can have meal for a long time. And if you look here at the steak, the first night it was steak with a mushroom, a pepper sauce, a salad and chips. The next meal was that same steak with a guava salad, and I made egg, mix it like you want to make an omelette, but instead of making a big omelette, I made small little, let's call it my little omelettes. So let's call it my little omelettes, and I just folded them double. So the main thing is I'm a protein fanatic. So I try to get as much protein in the food as I can. So you'll see a lot of my meals is meat and eggs. But the fact is that little let's call it egg pancakes. Those are things that the kids can make. And then the next, I'll show you a bowl in which I buy this packets from Spar with the shredded cabbage in it. And I make a salad from that. All you need is a little bit of spice and a little bit of extra saucy or what, and mix it together and it's there, raw, as it is, raw. But the stuff that you put with it makes it tasty. And then you'll see the next final meal was again still leftover steaks on a slice of toast. And there's guava, tomato, and again, the coleslaw. Enjoy. The next slideshow is for those people that are fortunate enough to have their own chickens. Now, those chickens that we have here and that we keep, those chickens is tough. They bloody tough. Don't let anybody tell you anything else. The cockerels, I call them runners. Those things are tough. So there's no chance of putting them on the braaier or quickly fry them in a pan or something like that. You cannot do it. So I slow cook them for about 12 to 16 hours with spices and all the stuff with it. And then I shred that chicken. And I get that, take the time and shred it, total the whole chicken. And you've got a lot of meat there that you can use in a variety of ways. And if you look at the slideshow, you will see how that chicken went through the process. And in this specific one, I need you to take note. There's a bowl with green stuff in it. That is raw spinach that has been sliced. Just sliced in ribbons. And I put that in the bowl. And then the stew that I made with that sauce is dumped on top of that raw spinach. And it takes about 2 minutes, 3 minutes. But at the time that you get everybody at the table and set your prayers and things like that, you can eat. And that heat from that stew will welt that spinach and you eat it like that. People tend to put spinach in a pot and cook it, and a big bag of spinach like that ends up in a small bundle in the bottom of the pit. Don't do it. I do it this raw into ribbons and put a hot stew on top of it, and that's it. Easy things to do. Enjoy the show. The next slide, the next slideshow, is how I handle green beans. Now, we all know those little packets of green beans that you buy at the supermarket. But many people don't do it because it's in their minds, they think it's going to take a long time to cook those beans. And this is another problem that modern people has developed in overcooking stuff. They overcook the stuff. If you look at this meal that I've done here, you will see that I start off by making a sauce, and in that pot you'll see the base of the sauce already with a lot of coarse cut onion in it. And then prepare it and fill it, add your liquids and cream and milk and whatever you want to do to it, and get volume in it. and that is your base of this meal. Then you will see a bowl with the green beans in it, and the next you'll see the pot with the sauce which is bubbling, and you add those green beans into that sauce, and you stand there and you just stir it slowly, 3 to 5 minutes, that's it. Then you serve that, and if you look at the image, you can see on the plate there, I have leftover meat. I've got some radishes in the bottom of the plate, and there's a lot of spinach that has been ribboned in under it. And then all I do is that sauce is put over it, and you've got a good meal. Think about that. Try and imagine the taste and the texture that you will get there. And this is important. Food must look good when you look at it, because you eat with your eyes. But focus on using basic materials, because stay as close as possible to unprocessed stuff. We are being trapped with all the processed stuff. Yeah, you can buy a packet of sauce. The problem is you don't have any idea what's in there. You've got no idea what's in it. And you buy quick takeaway food and things like that. That is stuff that costs a lot of money. Now, all of these meals that I've made here, most of the components, you can make volume and put it in the fridge or in the freezer and have it handy for mealtime. But the big advantage is, if all the meals that I've shown you here, there's a lot of processes in there where small children can be part of the preparations. And of course, the husband must grill the meat. He must grill that chicken. He must go, if you want to grill chicken, he must grill the steak piece and whatever. And mince is a commodity that can go a hell of a long way. But my wife, she didn't like this in the beginning. And I must say, until about a year ago, I was doing basically 95% of the meal preparations in the house. The fact of the matter is, I eat a lot out of bowls. And there's two reasons for it. First reason, most important reason, it gives you a good portion control, because overweight people, 99.9% of their problem is portion control. Don't let them tell you anything else. It's portion control. And then, in that bowl, the reason why I use the bowls is because I dress basically everything with a sauce. And the sauce is part of the meal. And this is the thing. We must always try and stay simple but efficient. And I'm going to do a show in which I will talk of the involvement of kids and the value of that. And it will tie in with this one. But what I'm trying to do with this show is just to show you that you can eat tasty and well in your home with a family around that table, that you can get that family time. And these meals None of these things should take you longer than 45 minutes to prepare. And if you have already prepared leftover meat, be it chicken, be it beef, be it what, it cuts down on the processing time. The thing that will take the longest to prepare is the sauce. I'm not a guy that's very keen on keeping sauce leftovers, because that fresh sauce makes the meal. And think about the use of spinach, and think about the use of the green beans. I hope you find this entertaining and informative. And go to my blog. There is tons of stories about different food. All of that. I'm going to make a show about quick takeaways type of stuff. And my next one is to talk about the involvement of kids and what it means to them. Please give me a like and a subscribe and share the thing. Thank you for your support.